Facebook always likes to do funny things when I'm trying to do a live. And so I'm excited today to be with all of you and talk about a little known technique that shows up in the annual catalog. So I posted yesterday about hinge step stamping, and it was fun to see some of your reactions and what your favorite stamp sets were. But I wanted to point out some of these specific sets in the catalog too, and then just talk about how they work. Okay, so I can see that people are joining me. Hello, Sherry. Hi, Martha. Hi, Diana. Okay, good. I know everybody's here. I hope you're having a great Tuesday wherever you are. This is one of those techniques that was kind of cool because it goes specifically with our Stamparatus. And so if you have a Stamparatus, pay attention because it's a fun technique that you can do with that tool. If you don't have a Stamparatus, this may make you want one because it makes stamping patterns and backgrounds a little bit easier and more precise. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip the camera around and then show you what these hinge step stamps are in the catalog and where to find the little description for that. It's kind of hidden. And so if you don't know to look for it, then you probably won't see it. So we'll do that. Let's flip you around and hook up my little phone as long as I don't turn it off. I've done that before. Okay. So, all right. So in the catalog, you'll see a stamp set like Pattern Play. And right down here by the title of it, you'll see Hinge Step. So it specifically denotes hinge step stamping. So it's a two-step set as well, but you can see hinge step there, and there are a handful in the catalog. I posted those yesterday, 6 to be precise in the annual catalog. And so let me show you what those are, and then we'll kind of talk about why they're that way. So this one in particular, Borders Abound. Oh, and you can see my light. I might have to take that off. There we go. Okay, so the reflection. So Borders Abound, and mainly because you have these borders that you can create a background with, and they kind of interchange. And it does talk about this in the catalog. So if you pay attention to some of the stories or product highlights in the catalog, on this one you can see that this sample right here shows how to use the hinge step on page 55. With 2 different stamps to create this background. Okay, so if you pay attention to some of those call outs, then you can learn some new techniques in the catalog as well. So there's Borders Abound, we have Pattern Play, which I pointed out earlier. We have Today's Tiles, which because of the width of this is a great hinge step stamp set. This one is denoted as a hinge step because of this piece right here. In my mind, I think there are other ways that you could probably use some hinge step stamping with some of these little pieces to create a border. But this is the one that stood out to me as the piece that I would use hinge stamping on, or with, I guess I should say. I already went through those. And then this one, specifically for this plank builder here. And this one's a little bit different in how you build it, so I'll show you that. And then of course this wood background, it's a big piece, but can create a really beautiful wood background just by using the hinge step technique. So let's dive in. You're going to want to use your Stamparatus. Now, if you don't have a Stamparatus, this is a stamp positioning tool. And what I love about it is you have enough of a work surface here, but you can use it with red rubber stamps and also photopolymer stamps. So if you're going to use it with photopolymer stamps, you'll want to use the little foam mat that comes along with it. And then we sell these little paper sheets, grid paper, so that you don't get anything dirty, and I love that too. But if you're using a red rubber stamp, then you would just use the platform by itself, okay? On the back of the platform, you can see that there are places for these magnets, and they're very, very strong. And so you won't want to put those or take them off together or put them together, because they'll clip together and they may break, which is a bad thing. So I usually always keep one ready for me to place, and then if I need another one, I just make sure that I'm putting it far away from the other one, okay? Now, what's cool about the Stamparatus is that you've got these plates, and they're removable. So this is just the surface that we use to stamp with, and they fit inside this piece right here. So this is the hinge part, okay, these feet right here, and they fit plates on this side, and then they fit plates on the top. And for right now, I'm just going to use a plate on this side. I have multiple plates. I don't know about some of you, but I make sure I have at least 4, because then I've got double the sides that I need for when I'm making duplicates. So if you don't have extra plates, that may be a smart thing for you to do, so that you don't have to remove your stamps over and over again. So let's start with this one. One of the things that I wanted to point out too is that when you're building your background, keep in mind that stamp placement is important, because you're going to be moving your plate down or to the side. Okay, so if you put your stamp out to this side thinking that you're going to move it off of your Stamparatus. So just keep that in mind, that you're going to move this way. So you'll want to place your artwork either toward the top or the side, so that you can move it one way or the other when you do the hinge step, okay? Because what this flexibility allows you to do is to move your plate down the line, that's kind of what down the spine, I guess I should say, so that you can stamp it multiple times in a very specific width, okay? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start with just a scratch piece of cardstock. Some people will tell you to line up your cardstock on the top or in the corner, and that's normally how I use my Stamparatus, but I prefer, when I'm using the hinge step technique, to set it out from the side and the top a little bit, and I tend to line my corner up right here. And then I always know where to put it. So I can use the magnet to put it there, but when you're using photopolymer, that can be a little bit sticky. And so I always want to make sure that I can line it back up where it's supposed to go. So let's start with this one. I've got the stripe on there from the pattern Play, this one right here. And these ones are also really great. I'll show you the difference in what they look like. This one's a little bit longer, so I'll show you what that looks like when you hinge step. Oh, and Jennifer's telling me you can't buy extra plates right now. Huh. Okay, well, forgive me. I have extra plates and I love them. So noted, okay? So use your plates wisely. I'm sorry if I gave misinformation. All right, so we've got our stripe stamp here, and I'm just gonna use some Pool Party and ink it up. The other thing that I like to do is just to have a flat surface underneath my Stamparatus plate. So you can just put a stamp case there so that you're inking on a flat surface. And then you'll just put your stamp over, press firmly, and then it's gonna stick because it's photopolymer. I'm actually okay with that. You could tape it down if you wanted to, but I'm just gonna line mine back up again where it needs to be. And then I'm going to ink it up and move it down one step so that I'm creating a border all the way down. So we'll move it down and I'll ink it up. I know I might be driving some of you crazy that I reposition it every time. I could tape it, or adhere it, but I don't have my adhesive close, and there's a reason for that. We're actually putting new carpet in the building. We've been here for 15 plus years, and it's time to recarpet, so all my stuff is packed up because we're getting new carpet in the building. So anyway, and they have to move my desk. So we'll just continue with this. We'll move it down again. You get the idea, right? And you can understand how the pattern is built. Okay, so you get the idea. Here's a sample that I wanted to show you from the catalog that shows that pattern. It's really cute how they've created this stripe background. Let's focus on maybe another piece of the set. I'm going to pull this off so I don't double do. Because I wanted to try these little border pieces. Okay, so for this one, the plate's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to put the plate toward the top because I want my pattern to go this way. So I've lined it up on this side, and we'll do the scallop one first. I'm going to set it against my tripod just for a second so that I can show you the difference. So on the stripes that I just did, I just moved it down one step. So bear with me, this is a little weird with the tripod. I'm going to ink it up, not on a flat surface. And I'll plop that down. And then I'm going to ink it up again. And if I move it one, it doesn't move it quite enough. So this one is a double step. You're going to skip a step, go one more, and then stamp the next scallop, okay? So some of them you have to skip more than one hinge step. You do a double hinge step. And then this one will go double again, and then just finish with that little scallop right there. So that one I wanted to move this way. If I wanted it to go down the page a different way for this side, then you just, like I did, line it up here, and then we'll work our way down the page this way. And it's a double stamp too, or a double skip. Like you have to skip it to come down again to get that border piece. Does that make sense? So sometimes you have to skip it a little bit more than just the one hinge step. You have to step it twice. Okay, so you get the idea, okay? So that's another way to use some of these stamp sets. So keep in mind which way you want your border to go, and that will help you know where to line up your stamps. So that's the first stamp set. I'm gonna kind of set that aside. I may not be able to show you all of them. Which one do I want to focus on next? Because I don't want to be here all day. But let's talk about this one. Let me move this one. Let's talk about this one. Okay, so this one, they give you a really great hint in the catalog because you have some thicker pieces and some thinner pieces. So you can interchange the two. I just did a border down the center, and then because the flower piece is smaller, or the ivy piece is smaller, then you can adhere those to your Stamparatus. So this is the placement that I used to go down the border, so it went this way. Does that make sense? And then one step and down, and one step and down this way. But then if I want to fill in the spaces, sorry, gotta get that off, it's really sticky. Okay, so if I want to fill in the spaces of that, then here's how you would line it up. So you'd line your card back up again. You can tell I utilized that corner piece really well. So I'm going to just line it up like this. We'll see if I can do it on the fly. Especially where this is a rubber stamp, then hopefully I've got it lined up. If not, that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. But this is how you would line it up so that you're ready to stamp. So let me get a different color than Pool Party. We'll do Garden Green. We'll just make everything green on this one. So we're going to alternate. So we've done this wider piece, and then we can come back in and do the floral piece. Can you see that? And so then when we move it down a step, then we're creating this floral background, which I think that it's really pretty with the spaces in between. And you can put words in between, but this is meant to be built together like this. Okay, you get the idea. So you have this really pretty background that you can use to make a card. And you can make duplicates this way too, right? Because you've lined this stamp up and you almost don't even have to think about it as you move down the card. So that's another great Hinge step stamp. Let's talk a little bit about this other one. What about this one? Whiskey Business. Look at this little piece right here. This one's different because it's smaller, and you're going to have to move the stamp around a little bit. So let me show you what I'm doing with this one. Fix my camera here. Okay. So I'm going to use this wood piece, and I've lined it up along this side, and I'm going to move this way. So that's why this stamp is there. I'll grab another sheet of cardstock just for demonstration purposes. And we're going to ink that up with some early espresso. And I know this is awkward, but do you like I'm getting my fingers green? That's how you know you're a true crafter. You have ink on your fingers. Okay, so we're gonna go this way, and it's off the paper. I want it to be off the paper because I'm going to build a pattern. So then when I go to the next step, it's not enough. I gotta go double so that I line them up here. And then I'm going to do it again. 2 steps and the next one. So then when you want to build the next piece of it, you'll remove the stamp and line it up kind of off kilter, I guess, from where you had it, so that you can have your seams in different places. And it looks like this when you start to build it. So you can build one row, and then you build the next row, and then the next row, so that you get this full background piece with those wood planks with the Whiskey Business. Okay, cool beans. Let's talk about a different stamp set. I'm gonna make a mess as I'm doing this. Okay, so what's next? Where's another stamp set? Let's do, oh, this is one of my favorites. Let's do this because I don't think I'm gonna have time for all of them. I'll put this one away. I'll show it to you later, what I made with that one. This one is the Framed for You, and it just builds a border like this. But I think you get the idea. It's just one stamp. And so that can be water, it can be, you can have lots of fun with this, but this is the one that I immediately thought would be perfect for a hinge step. And it creates a really pretty base to a card. Okay, let's do this one because I love how this one turns out. And oh my gosh, I totally forgot to take out my little mat here when I'm using a red rubber stamp. That's so that, because there's enough cushion on here with the stamp as it is. So we'll just grab a little bit more cardstock. I don't know, I hope you guys are getting excited about this. If you've never tried it, it's really fun to look through the catalog and see if you can determine which stamps go really well with this technique. I'm sure there are more stamp sets that would work. We just have these few that are specifically called out. So we'll ink this up and then press firmly. Oh, and I didn't press firmly enough. That's okay. We'll go back. We'll do it again. There we go. Love that. Okay, so then we're going to ink it up again and then move it down double. Oh, I moved it. I think I moved my paper. We'll see how we do. Not too shabby. Okay, so then you've got this piece, and then I'll move my little magnet so that I can go down one more double step, one more hinge step. And now that as you get toward the end, I feel like it's less stable. So I just push it against the spine so that I can make sure that I'm lined up. So you get this really, really pretty wood background. Isn't that cool? I love that stamp. I think it's pretty. And I love that it only takes 3 passes to create a really beautiful background. Okay, so what other ones do I have to show you today? Let's see. Okay, so another one that I did want to talk about because I think it's a little bit more intensive is this stamp set, Today's Tiles. This one is a little bit more intimidating, I think, because you have this first piece and it's a 2-step. So this is a hinge step. You can repeat this pattern, but then you have the 2-step piece, the detail piece on top. And so I feel like it's a little bit intimidating to line it up. So let me show you. What did I do with that? I want to show you how I lined it up. Let me take some of these stamps off of my plates so that I can show you. And I got ink on them, and I don't have anything to clean my plate with, you guys, because my stuff is all put away. So I'm getting inky today. All right, so if I line this up, I'll show you how I do it. Okay, so when I'm lining this up, like I said, I line my cards up on this corner. So what I'm gonna do, I'll see if I can do this without getting my head in the frame. I'm gonna line it up right inside there. Hopefully I get it straight. It's hard for me to see when I'm not exactly over it. So we'll see how we do. Oh, and I forgot my mat. Hold on. Love it when you guys get to see me mess up. So let me get this in here. I'm using a photopolymer stamp set again. I need this in there. I need my little mat. Oh, okay, so funny. All right, so I'm gonna line this up along that edge so that it looks fairly straight. I'm trying to do it from the camera angle. I wanted to just show you how I put it together, but goodness, I should have had that pre-prepped. Well, where's the fun in that, right? You guys can see that I'm human too. Okay, so let's grab a piece of cardstock and see how we did in seeing if that was straight. You can also look at the back of your Stamparatus and line it up on the grid. So I can see here that it looks pretty good on this line. So I should be okay. So let's go with, gosh, what color do I want to do? It doesn't really matter. Let's do Pool Party again. Love that color. Okay, and it's going to be a little sticky. So in this case, using a little bit of tape or something might be good. Since I don't have that, you all get to bear with me. And I'll put it back down. Oh, it's pretty straight, actually. So then we'll line it up on the corner again. And we'll move it down. Does anyone else feel like this stamp set is a little bit intimidating? I feel like it is, but not once you start actually putting it together. It's not as bad. That's why I'm showing you. Okay, so now that we've got that lined up, I'm going to take this one off so that you can see how I line up the other 2-step piece. I found on this set, let's see, how do I want this to go? I think it's this way. Okay, so I line up the circles. So most of them have circles in the middle. So if all of them do, pretty close. So if I line it up on here with the circles in the middle, it's hard to do this with the camera in the way, then I should be pretty close. So let's see how we do. And if it's not perfect, I'm actually okay with it. But we'll get all the circles lined up as best we can. And then I'll pick it up on my plate and then put that back where I had it. So we'll see how we do, guys. I don't know, cross your fingers for me. All right, so let's do a darker color on this one so that you can see the difference. We'll use that green. Okay, moment of truth, friends, moment of truth. How'd we do? Ah, looks good. Okay, so so you can see how I lined that up, and it really is beautiful. So let me scoot this over so that I can move it down. And this is a double skip too, so you want to go down 2 steps. Okay, isn't that pretty? And you can cut this out into a square or keep going with your pattern, but they line up really pretty well. So you can see how pretty that is. Okay. All right. So you get the idea. I hope that you have come to love or get excited about hinge step stamping. Let me flip my camera around here. I hope this got you excited. If you have never tried hinge step stamping, I hope you give it a try, especially if you have the Stamparatus. If you don't have the Stamparatus, you might want one. They're a great tool. It's a great tool to have because it makes stamping really simple and easy, especially if you're making duplicate cards. Or if you're nervous about lining something up, then you can try it out on the Stamparatus, and then it's set and ready for you to stamp again. So anyway, thanks everybody for joining me today. Happy hinge step stamping, my friends. We'll talk to you soon.